Welcome to New York's #2 sports show. The Rangers defeat the Columbus Blue Jackets 1-0 in a shootout. So it is a shutout for Igor Shesterkin, who stops all 27 Blue Jacket shots, and that doesn't include the 3 saves that he made in the shootout. So goes totally perfect. And Vincent Trocheck is the one player who does score for the Rangers in the shootout. Um, this game really could have went either way. Felt like Columbus was probably the better team to start. I would say the shot totals would dictate that, but thought the Rangers, as we've seen a lot lately, they kind of got better as the game went on. Very defensive first style game, and that's the way the Rangers are going to have to win these games. It's going to be pretty boring hockey. Rangers having a tough time of generating a whole lot of offense. I mean, yes, there has been some random games where they will score goals, but for the most part, I feel like the winning has been predicated on low event, low chance hockey. And of course, Shesterkin was really the main catalyst in this game. But, I think, Columbus has been playing really good hockey. Columbus was coming in on a 6-game winning streak. That is now snapped. The Rangers extend their point streak to 7. So the Rangers are 5-0-2 in their last 7 games and 6-1-2 since the beginning of January. So 2025 has been treating the Rangers well. They're now 22-20-3. This is one of those games where there is a little bit more of an importance if you could have won in regulation, considering that Columbus is one of the prime contenders for those last couple of playoff spots. However, there's other teams involved that, Columbus isn't the only team that's involved in this. So the Rangers getting the 2 points is still really important. And, tomorrow night, it's a game at Montreal. And, that's another important team that had been playing really well, although they'll be coming off of a tough loss where they had a 3-0 lead home against Toronto, only to see the Maple Leafs score 7 unanswered between the second and mostly third period. So, but this was, this Columbus versus the Rangers game, a divisional opponent, and the first of 4 games against the Blue Jackets. The Rangers will be seeing them a lot within the next couple of months. And that's just how the schedule works sometimes, where, you would have thought that by now maybe they would have played them, considering there's 4 on the schedule, but not until now, beyond the halfway mark of the season. And again, it's kind of crazy. The first shootout that the Rangers have been in the whole season, and it does go their way against the Columbus team, who had been 4-0 in the shootout, and I believe 1-6 in the 3-on-3. But in this game, I don't know. There's not going to be a whole lot to really add. Again, there wasn't really a whole lot that went on. I guess as far as the lineup was concerned, Matt Rempe was in the lineup. I wasn't sure based on the fact that he really didn't play much at all last game. He did play this game, and again, the minutes were pretty limited. He only played 7 shifts, 5 minutes and 51 seconds, and I just think I don't really see the point in that. So he may have gotten, I think, 1 shift early in the third period, from what I could tell. And I would think, even though they're coming off of a win, with it being a back-to-back, my opinion is I think that you'll see one of Vesey or Brodzinski in the lineup tomorrow night. Could be wrong, but it just a hunch, and I feel like they've kind of done that, right? I mean, you normally see it with the goalies, where they'll split the back-to-back, which is why I think Jonathan Quick will be going for his 400th NHL win against Montreal. But they've also done it with the skaters as well. And so Vesey would be my guess to replace Rempe. I just don't see the point. If Rempe is going to be dressed in the lineup, then use him. Try to run him out there. I understand in certain situations, like if you're protecting the lead late and things like that, I do understand it. But they clearly don't trust him. And look, I don't have a problem with that, but then it's like he should be in Hartford. So, but yeah, the defense has been steady, and Zach Jones has been a completely forgotten man at this point. But it's been nice. I feel like Will Borgen, especially, like, him having, been brought in from the Seattle Kraken has really brought some stability to the back end. And, look, Capo Caco has been doing really well with Seattle on a line with Matty Beniers and Jaden Schwartz. So that comes with its disappointment for sure as a Ranger fan. However, Will Borgen has not been a nothing by any means. Him and Keandre Miller have formed a pretty formidable duo. And, even Vakanainen on the third pair has done a nice job with Braden Schneider. So again, I feel like, Trouba not being in the mix anymore has helped. It took some time, but, again, they're playing better as a unit. Obviously, it helps having Shesterkin back there when he's on his game. It's going to be tough to beat the Rangers. And that's kind of, part of my thinking when things were going really poorly. Part of me was thinking, well, this could be better for the Rangers to somehow bottom out, become full-on sellers, and try to rework this roster. But the thing is, with the Ranger goaltending that they typically get, look, there's been struggles for Shesterkin this year for sure, but with that type of goaltending, it's going to be hard for them to lose that many games, and the Rangers really are healthy right now. So realistically, like, it's not going to get bad enough where they're vying for like a top 5 spot. When I say top 5, I mean like in the lottery. It just doesn't seem like it'd be likely, despite the fact that the Rangers, even though they are 5-0-2 in their last 7, right? Even though things have turned around and they definitely have a chance to make the playoffs, it's still, I don't know. I'm still not at the point where it's okay. Like, this is it. This is like a team that is for sure going to go on a run here. I still need to see a lot more, but a massive improvement over what they had been doing. There's no question about that. And the lines did return because obviously things got kind of juggled against Utah, but they went back to, Zibanejad centering Cooley and Smith, and Hedel centering Kreider and Kaliev. So they basically, obviously once Rempe was out of the game, then all of a sudden you start moving things around a little bit, but that's pretty much what they've been sticking with for now. And again, it was just a really good goalie matchup between Danil Tarasov and Igor Shesterkin. Like I said, Columbus, they outshot the Rangers 15-4 in the first period, which it wasn't. That sounds a lot worse than what it really was to me. Like, do I think Columbus was better than the first? Yes, they were, but that doesn't really tell the whole story there. Rangers just had a tough time really generating any real high quality chances. There were some in this game, more so later on. But for a while there, it was both teams weren't really budging. I felt like Columbus was getting the better looks, and whether it be a Shesterkin save or maybe a post or something like that, Columbus just wasn't finding a way to put the puck in the net. They didn't do it all night. In the first period, there were a couple of penalties. Adam Fantilli slashes Riley Smith, and the good thing about Riley Smith is you can tell, like, he is, for the most part, a very hardworking player. I like that about him, where you can tell there's an extra gear that he'll use. I think that he, on a really good team, like, is a winning, like, the way he plays, there are winning elements to Riley Smith. He's not going to, like, look, the stats aren't going to be anything crazy. He'll probably be looked back at like, look, he is a free agent at the end of the year. I wouldn't expect Riley Smith to return. You never know. It's possible. But I see why he would be someone that a team would covet. Anyway, the Rangers get that power play. It was their one power play of the night, and they don't score on it. And, the power play struggled a lot. Lafreniere now seems to be off the first unit, and I can't argue with that. Really, I don't like how Alexis Lafreniere has been playing at all. It's unfortunate because I wanted him to kind of take that opportunity and just run with it. It didn't quite happen. It's now they've gone back to the original, which has, Mika Zibanejad on it. So, yeah, on Lafreniere, I just feel like we'll see. We'll see what happens. But this season as a whole has been disappointing. Like, no question about it. And it started out well. It really did. Like, he was looking like he was following up what he did last season, and it's really just kind of dropped off. And still a lot of season to go, but disappointing for Alexei Lafreniere. Then the Rangers take a penalty. Mika Zibanejad would slash Kirill Marchenko at 17:31. But the Rangers would kill that off. And so the score would be scoreless at the end of the first period. Second period, I thought the Rangers, played a little bit better. They outshot Columbus 12-5. There were no penalties taken in the second period. But yeah, I felt like, they were starting to, because it's tough too. You got to remember, Rangers coming back from a Western trip. First game back from that can be a little bit, especially that first period, you got to shake the rust off a little bit. But thought they handled themselves well. And then we go to the third period. And here's the thing, like, a theme with a lot of these games is they've been close. Like, a lot of tie games going to third. When the Rangers were losing, like, that wasn't the case. And this is something that I think we saw more like last season, where close games and the Rangers would find a way to get those 2 points. And that's happening more now. So third period, the Rangers would take a penalty at 10:36. Zibanejad was called for holding the stick. So both penalties on Mika Zibanejad. Zibanejad in this game, there was definitely many frustrating moments. He ends up, I guess we'll talk about it once we get to overtime. Rangers do kill off that Zibanejad penalty. Again, there were some opportunities on both ends, but neither team had anything to show for it. So they both get a point, go to overtime, and I think if you're both teams, you're taking the point. I'd say more so if you're Columbus and the Rangers, considering where they are and the fact they're on the road. Columbus has not been a great road team this year, although I think they've been better lately, but their road record is much worse than their home record. And so now they go into overtime trying to extend that win streak to 7, which they don't do. Overtime is where, so a couple of things, like Panarin, I don't know what he was thinking about. Because he's not one to do this in general. It's all about puck possession. Like, the name of the game in overtime is puck possession, but that is like after scoring a goal, that's like the next most important thing on a 3-on-3 situation. And for some reason, Barron just willingly just dumps it down and gives it to Columbus. I didn't understand that. I'm not sure what he was thinking. So in terms of puck possession, I'd say Columbus, it felt like they had it a little bit more than the Rangers. However, Mika Zibanejad has 2 breakaway opportunities in the overtime session. One in which was just an easy save by Tarasov. The second one, I'll give him credit. Like, that one was a pretty good save, where Mika goes backhand and he elevated it, but it was stopped. And Zibanejad against Colorado in overtime was denied on a breakaway, and then the Avalanche won. Now that the Rangers didn't lose this game, but Zibanejad needs to deliver in those moments. Good for him for getting those opportunities, but it's like you got to cash in, especially for a player. Mika Zibanejad was about as money as anyone in breakaways, shootout, those situations. There wasn't a guy that he would be the guy you'd want most, like, without a doubt. Really, ever since he's been a Ranger, bread and butter for Mika Zibanejad was, scoring on breakaways. So he doesn't score in either of those attempts. So we go to a shootout. First Rangers shootout of the season in game 45? And the Rangers aren't the only team. There are a few other teams in the league that have not gone to the shootout. So it's not just them, but it is more on the rare side. And the Rangers decided to shoot first. And naturally, it's Artemi Panarin who is up first, and he doesn't score. So that puts you in a tough spot. But Igor was just locked in all the way. And so he stops Ken Johnson, who is good in the shoot. I believe they said he was 3 for 3 in previous opportunities, but he stopped. And then Vincent Trocheck is the one that scores. And it was interesting because in my mind, it's been a long time since the Rangers have been in a shootout. I had forgotten about the fact that by the end of last year, Trocheck was starting to be somewhat in the top 3. But I was thinking that Lafreniere would probably be one of the 3. He was not, believe it or not. But Trocheck scores. And Trocheck went all the way to the right, which I don't love that. I kind of like when it's more of a straight line, but he slows down, kind of gets the right angle and snaps it by Tarasov to finally score a goal, gives Rangers 1-0 lead. Then Adam Fantilli is stopped by Igor, and Mika Zibanejad again has a chance to win it, and he stopped. And this one, to me, this was a bad attempt. I don't even think it looked like it wasn't. It looked like it was going wide. Like anyway, he made a little move, forehand, and again, kind of a weak attempt there for Mika. And it's, I guess, the order, I guess, is important, right? In a way, it's Panarin 1, Trocheck 2, Zibanejad 3. I'm not sure if that speaks to the level of confidence and like the depth chart of it all, but just something to keep an eye on, because you think the Rangers will likely be in a shootout again, and those will probably be your 3 with Lafreniere the next one up. But then it comes down to Shesterkin versus Marchenko, and Igor makes the stop. Truly, it was a very, very good game for Igor Shesterkin. I mean, it's easy to say that when it's a shutout, but really, a lot of big saves. He had a really big one towards the end of regulation. He was really looking good as well. And here's the thing too with him, he has not been like amazing lately. He's been good, right? Like I can think about certain games where, like that Vegas game, I thought Igor was very dialed in, but just in general, even though the Rangers have been winning, you have some, because think about it, like you have some Jonathan Quick wins thrown in there. I think you even had one from Louis Domingue. Like Igor hasn't necessarily been in line with this Ranger winning streak, but this game he was the number one star by far, not even close. He really won this game for the Rangers. And that all said, pretty even game too. So it wasn't as if he, yes, did he single-handedly win it? Naturally he did, right? In a 1-0 shootout win. But he, I still think that the Rangers played a good enough defensive game as well. So now, like I said, Rangers versus Montreal, weird scheduling. The fact that it's, you go, from Vegas to Colorado to Utah, back home, and then literally next day, you're going to Montreal. So the schedule makers didn't really do the Rangers any favors. Once they get through that, then it's a lot more favorable, where they're going to be at home, I think, for them the next 4 games. So the Rangers may not face Sam Montembeault, the Canadian starter, considering it's a back-to-back, but the Montreal backup's actually been better than Montembeault lately. So if that is the case, the Rangers may not be catching a break. Rangers have faced Montreal twice before the season. The Rangers won both games. They won in lopsided fashion in Montreal, and they won a close game at home when the Rangers were struggling. That was one of their few wins that they had over the really bad stretch. So third and final matchup, Rangers looking to sweep that season series. We'll see if they can do it. But definitely a big game, because the Rangers, they're inching closer and closer. Not really quite there yet. A lot of heavy lifting to be done. But the momentum has stayed in a good place, and they're just racking up points. But these head-to-head matchups are especially crucial. And, just like this Columbus game, you got Montreal, Ottawa, and Philly. All teams that are really important in the Rangers' pursuit to, find a way to make the playoffs. So we'll see what happens, though. But it was Igor Shesterkin's night at Madison Square Garden. He's able to get the shutout, and the Rangers win in the shootout 1-0.